Hi, welcome everybody to the next part, the next video in our browser-based game playlist. First off the bat, I have to apologise for the quality of me in the corner of the screen here. Um, I well, basically I'm messing around with the green screen which is behind me at the minute, which is why you can see the general background. You can see the limits of where I can go. Um, if you look at that, that's not really working that well. The green screen's fine, and I think everything else is fine, but the lighting I think I need to sort out. So please bear with me. In fact, for this video, once I've done a little intro, I'm going to disappear. A bit like this. So I can get out the way and you can concentrate on the code. So just to summarize, in our last video, we created the resources and the construction recipes that were going to be used to build products from those resources. And you'll remember that in the seeder file, I didn't do the whole set of data because you would have been there for ages watching me type the same thing over and over for all the different things in the game. So I just did a few, we ran it, it worked, and I said I'd populate that so that you could just sort of do it in your own time and not have to worry about it. So that's what I've done, and I've uploaded it. So what we'll do is I'll just show you on the repo. No, it's not. It's not on Bitbucket, is it? Is it on GitHub? Oh no, it must be on Bitbucket. Let's have another look. Deuteros, there we go. So if you, where are we? Config. No, databases, that's it. So in the databases, seeders, sorry, no, that's where the actual functionality is. The actual file is in config. Where are we? Deuteros. And there we go. Now, when I showed the video, the part 7, we just did a few just to show you how it worked. And then we did a recipe down here, which was the derrick. Well, as you can see, I've done all the other parts that make up the game, and I've also done all the recipes as well. I haven't included everything. I mean, I've gone all the way down to the star drone, which was the drone in the bigger ship, the SGS ship. But I didn't include things like the language thing that you talk to aliens with because I just didn't see the point in this game. We all sort of, we don't need to translate as part of the gameplay, so I didn't bother putting that in. There might be one or two other things I haven't put in. I was following a playlist actually, not a playlist, a walkthrough. I'll put a link to the walkthrough on YouTube. Somebody's done a 6-hour, 14-part walkthrough of the game, and I got a lot of information from him, so I'm going to credit that video. It's pretty good. I'll put that in the description of the video at the end. But yeah, there we go. So that's our. If you want to download that, if you couldn't be bothered, if you don't want to type it out, you can just download that and add it. If you've been following along, just replace the current deuteros.php file that you've got. If you're just starting here for the first time, you can just git clone the whole site and carry on and pick up from here. So that's up to you. Anyway, this week we're going to start on the celestial bodies and the seeding for them. So that's like the stars, the planets and the moons. And we're sort of going to reach towards, hopefully starting to get towards user registration, which is what I'm aiming for. So let's get started. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be dealing with the celestial bodies, and I was thinking I want to start getting to the point now where at least we can sort of do the registration of a user. But the problem with that is that once a user registers, like most of these kind of games, they're going to pick a starting position. If you've played, I don't know, Travian or something like that, you have to pick a side, don't you? And then or no, on Travian you pick a place. Oh yeah, you do. You pick a race, and then you pick a point on the map roughly where you want to go. If you remember the old Battlestar Galactica Online, you picked a race, so you were either Cylon or human. So there's this like kind of thing. Part of the registration is you have to pick something as well. And one of the things that I think we're going to do is that if you can either be a human or a methanoid, possibly a third silicoid that I'm going to make up. I'm not sure. I really don't know just yet. But the idea being that each one of those three has its own starting planet. And if you remember on BSG, the place where you start was safe. You know, the opposing team couldn't come into that planetary system. So you were safe to stay there and you could like build up resources and that. Well, you couldn't build up resources there, but you could mine asteroids, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm sort of thinking the same thing, which means when we get to do the planet resources, what planets produce what resources, we may have to tinker with that so that there's like a fair starting point. So these are all the things I've got to decide. But for now, I just want to make it where there's a body, a celestial body for a player to pick to start from, or if they pick a particular race, by default that starts them on a particular body in the solar system. Anyway, either way, I want to put the celestial bodies in. So let's start by making me disappear. Okay, so we've got a clear screen now. So okay, so these are the two files. Okay, so let's have a look at the seeder file then. So we've got our recipes there, which is good. So we need to think about the bodies now. So see the resources. So it's the second line in, 1, 2. So that's here. So we've got resources, we've got recipes. So let's put bodies. Okay, so that'll be an array. So in the bodies, we'll have a name. So let's start from outwards in. In fact, it's probably worth mentioning at this point. I think we included it. Did we include nested set? Yeah. So this nested set is where this comes into play now, because a sun or a star has children, which are the planets that orbit it. But then some of the children may have, some of the planets may have children, which are moons, which orbit them. So we're not going to get away with just a linear set of data here. So that's okay. This is where nested set comes in. So what we'll do, we'll say name is the sun. I think it's called that, isn't it? It's not sol, is it? It's called the sun, I think it is, yeah. But in order to reference that, like we did with the recipes, we're going to give it a slug. But I suspect, I don't think we put that in the table. Create bodies, name, no. So what we're going to do is just duplicate that. Okay. So we need to make sure when we populate it, we get a name and a slug, but that's fine. In reality, we should have a function that does that. If you type a name, it sort of makes a slug for us from it, but I can't be bothered. Just manually put it in. Good, so that'll make the name and the slug, but now we have to think about, okay, does the sun have children? And we're going to start going into the world of recursion. And if you've never done recursive programming with coding, it can be a little bit weird at first to get your head around what's going on. So, but this is a relatively simple sort of thing. We're not doing anything too complex here. But what we need to do is set up another parameter here. We'll call it children, which is now an array. And then the children basically is now the same as what this array of bodies is. So you're going to have a name and a slug. So the first child of the sun is going to be Mercury. Or Mercury. Okay. So does Mercury have children? I don't think it does. We can check. Well, I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but I have got a reference to somebody had set this up. It's an old archive, but it's worked. So Mercury, yeah, you can see Earth has a moon, Mars has two moons, but Mercury and Venus have no moons. So that's good. So we don't have to do the children here. So Mercury. So let's do Venus. Okay. So Venus has no moons either, so that's fine. So let's do Earth. Now, Earth does have a child. Doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1,000,000, to be honest, but we still have to refer it as multiple in case there's more than one. So the name of this, the moon. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do. I'll do it the same as what I did last time. We'll get this working, and then we'll end the video. But I'll update the seeder file with all the planets from the Deuteros game based on that website we've just seen. So again, you don't have to sit around watching me type all this. So the moon has no children, obviously, so that's fine. Okay, yeah, I think that's enough information to go on. Should we add in one of the other suns as well? Just so that we've got it at every level. You know what, I think, yeah, let's add in one of the other suns as well. So that ends here. So the name of the next sun in the game, where was that website? Is Pluto Proxima. Slug is Proxima. Obviously Proxima will have children. Not many in the second one though. I think there's only 2 planets. So name is Atlantic and Pacific. And Atlantic doesn't have any moons, but Pacific does. Okay. So we need children in here. Oh, children. And we have, can't even read that, Barent and Baltic. So name equals Barent. Slug. Barent. And what did I say? Baltic. Thoughts just crossed my mind that this part of the seeder is probably a good place to associate the resources with the planets that produce them, because we have reference to the planets and the moons here as we're going through. So in other words, after each one of these bodies we could have a resources array. Should I do that in this video? Okay, well let's not for a minute. Let's get this done. Okay, so that's Proxima, which has 2 planets, and the second planet has 2 moons. Okay, and that'll do for now. As I say, I'll populate everything else before it goes up to GitHub. but that's fine for the data. So we now need to think about how we're going to seed this. Okay, so this is where recursion comes in. Ooh. So let's just come down here. Okay, so like we did in the with the recipes, we got that data from the config file and made it into a collection. So let's do that. We'll call it bodies equals deuteros there. Bodies. While I remember, I'll just do PHP artisan config cache because we're messing with the seeder file, with the config deuteros file. Okay. So what do we do here? Bodies each. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Bodies each. Let's call it body this time. Oh. Okay. So we're looping over the collection of bodies. So okay. Let's think about this. Well, let's go back to here. Let's just pull this. How do I split the window on this? I've forgotten how to do it. Split and move right. Ah, there we go. So we're on this code here, and these are the bodies here. Okay, so well, we obviously have the top level bodies, but then we have the bodies which are in children and children, and this is where recursion comes in. So we need really to create a recursive function. So let's just create a private function here. Recurse. I think that's a function in it. Name. And what are we going to pass into there? Well, once we've dealt with the level of data at this level, we're going to pass in the array of children, which is effectively like the array of bodies. So I'm wondering whether we should call, let's just comment that out a second. I wonder if we should just call this recurse bodies. So we're passing in the array of bodies. Let's call it array. So the first time it goes in, this is going to be a collection of this. So it'll have a name, a slug, and children. These are the top level keys of this array. So we can ignore the children, but we do need to loop over the array. So okay. What we can do is if we say array each is the body, we can then body query. We don't need query. I normally put query just to help me with the IntelliSense, but create will do. So we can say name is body name, and then we can say slug is body slug. So that should create that, but then we want to say, right, we now want to go into, we now want to recurse this children. So it makes sense to say, this is where the recursion comes in. This recurse body children. Not sure whether we need to make that a collection. We'll find out in a minute, I'm sure. Okay. Now, this is fine. The only problem with this is now we don't identify the parent it belongs to, and we need to, otherwise it will just be a linear array. So what we can do is look up nested set. And here we go, inserting nodes. Creating nodes, no, making a root from existing node. Here we go. Okay, so okay, this looks fine. Let's just copy that. So before we recurse, let's say let's just call it object. It loses context once it comes out the recursive loop, so there shouldn't be any duplicate with that. But what we need to do is say parent append node object. Yeah, that makes sense. However, we now need to pass in a parent. So if we say parent equals null by default, so the first time it goes in when we call it here, there is no parent, so it's null. So that'll be null. However, it's still out of context because we're inside this each, so I think we need to use it. Yeah, that looks about right. Parent append node object. Then if we recurse, we pass the children, but it wants a parent now. Okay. So what we're going to do is, that's a collection, body create. So body let's see if that fixes that. I don't think it will. Not completely. Yeah, so we need to go back to that problem. So what am I doing wrong here? So it's treating this as a collection. Oh, hang on, no, it's treating this as a collection. So I need to treat that as an object. So where do I need to object that? I don't know if I can do this. No. Let's try something really hacky. I'm already starting to not like this. Trying to get property name of non-object. Okay. Let's just see what's going on here. So let's just dump the body. So the body is an array. We don't want it to be an array. We want it to be an object. So if we just say body equals object body, does that work? Call to member function append node on null. Okay, so we got past that. So now we just need to say if not is null parent, okay, let's try that. Undefined property children. Oh, if body children. Yeah, if it doesn't exist, doesn't it? Obviously, it's going to error, isn't it? I think that's how it works. If body children, no. Undefined property. Do I have to do is set? Okay, this should be it. Please be it. Yay. Okay. Right. So, and there we go. It's hard to sort of prove that the ordering works the way it should because I've put them in the order that they should be anyway, and the way it will appear when you sort it by its structured, its nested order, is as if you had left ascending. That's like the way it would do it. But as it happens, ID descending is going to match that at the minute anyway. So it's not really. I don't want to undo that to prove it, but you can see that the two main parents, Proxima and Sun, have no parent ID, so they're null. And then everything just bases off them. So Mercury has a parent ID of 1, which is the Sun. So does Venus. So does Earth. But the Moon has a parent ID of 4, which is the Earth, and so on and so on. And this left-right basically determines the order. So I can make Mercury come after Venus. So the Sun, Venus, Mercury, if I wanted to. I run a method that nested set gives me, and it reorders them. But obviously it's the right way, so I'm going to leave it as it is. So that is it. If you look at, I think, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we want to do in this one. I think in the next one, what we'll do is we'll look at this and assign the resources to the planets for now. Remember we said that if the gameplay is such that the players start in the same solar system, well, I don't think there's another planet that actually has the same excuse my glittery face there, the same setup as Earth. So you've got Earth basically has these here, so all the way down to there. There is no other setup by default that has the same combination of resources on the planet. So yeah, we would, if we were going to do that, we'd have to tweak it. Atlantic. Now that's interesting. Atlantic does, which is the first planet in the next system. So how would that work in gameplay? It doesn't seem fair because this Proxima system's not the same. So I don't know whether that would have a... Can I make that work? Chiron is the same. So that one does. This one does. What's that? Mari in this system. Nero does in this one. Romulus does in that one. And Chloros? I can't see that. Hang on. Yeah, Chloros does in that one. So that's interesting. There's at least one in each system that has the same starting resources as Earth. So I wonder if we could use that as part of the gameplay. Okay, well, that's something we'll have a think about. Oh, that's terrible gamma correction, that, isn't it? That's... There we go. See, that's just by reducing the light. I really need to get the light sorted in here. That's Nazi dancing top now, though. So yeah, anyway, so what we'll do next video is we'll look at assigning the resources to planets. I'll have a think about how the gameplay might work, because I'm going to have to start making these kind of decisions now. So we'll assign the resources to the planets, and then hopefully we can start looking at the registration process, get a user up there, and then start working on the actual click system where the resources are worked out every click and so on. But this is good. Made good progress today in a relatively short video, and hopefully we can progress from here. So if you like this video, please click like. If you want to see the continuation of this as we progress, please click the subscribe button so you'll get a notification whenever I post a new video. Apparently there's a bell or something as well you can click. I don't know, but I should really know that, shouldn't I? But please, if you click like, and comments are always welcome, especially with this game. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll hope to see you in the next video.